um, I'm assuming all of you at least know what like moth is not like butterfly, and it's just I call them as a night cousins of butterflies. You know, it is like, you know, you have a cousin who does a night shift, you know. So that is how moths are when it comes to butterflies. They roam in the night, and that is the basic problem why they are not known um, in the in the sphere of wildlife, you know, because you know our डायलॉग जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, राइट? सो मॉड्स तो दिखते ही नहीं है, बिकेगा क्या, you know? So that's a pretty basic problem. So butterflies दिखते हैं तो बिकते हैं, तो butterflies are popular. Popular are like butterflies are like celebrities because they are there everywhere. They are beautiful, they are gorgeous, they're colorful. In a way, no, I feel butterfly ka lifestyle and our lifestyle is very much in tune with time. They are also late risers. Many of us are late risers nowadays because of the pandemic, and they are there around us as long as we are awake during the daylight, and they are not there in the night time, and we don't bother to go and check what's happening in the night time because we all are inside home sleeping. That's the time when the moth's world start. So this disconnect of time, this disconnect of human visibility to humans is what has caused a major problem for moths, and they are the big losers in this line, that they are not getting help as far as conservation is concerned. They are not getting help as far as recognition is concerned, or students not taking up study topics to study moths. Everyone will come to me saying that I want to study butterflies, but nobody talks about moths, you know. So that's a dilemma with moth world. So let's understand. Let's start from there. That why, why to study moths also, like why I chose moths. To be very honest, I was not so knowledgeable when I was studying moths for my masters. You know, I was also just like any ordinary enthusiastic student. I went up to my guide and I said that I want to do MSc, and I want to do MSc on butterflies. And he said that don't pursue butterflies, pursue moths, because there are many people who are already studying butterflies. So you can pursue moths. You'll be probably forced to do that. And, you know, the Manime, we used to believe our teachers. Whatever teacher says, we believe. We used to not question. Nowadays, students question everything to their professors, but in a way, it's good. But so he said that, okay, do moths. This is Mr. Naresh Chaturvedi, who was the curator of DNHS. And I said, okay, I'll take it up. And he said, there's nothing known about moths, and so you study whatever you can find. So I started like that, and it was like accidental. I met moths accidentally. I never planned for it. Yeah. And why I did that? Again, I was so desperate to do my MSc with BNHS. I said, koi bhi topic chalega. Give me any topic. But as far as it is insects, because insects was my interest. So that's how it all, you know, started. And then as I started studying more and more, I realized that the amount, there's so many moths available around us, and there's so much less information is available. Yeah. So I bet, like I wrote this on Instagram, that the first caterpillar you would have seen in this season, in this monsoon outdoor, would be a moth. That's my open challenge. Why? Because the sheer number, you look at the numbers, what they're representing world over. So the total Lepidoptera species is around 1,55,000. Out of that, only 25,000 species are butterflies. Remaining all are moths. That tells why you see more of moths and less of butterflies. Yeah, but yet butterflies being so like such a small number, yet they became popular, and I mentioned the reasons why it is. In India too, you have a figure to talk about saying that there are, say, 1,400 plus butterflies in our country, but nobody knows how many moths are there. No one who is working in the field of moths in India today can give you a specific number. Everyone will give you an approximate number, and I have done just a small calculation that usually butterflies are 10 times more, sorry, moths are 10 times more than the butterflies. So though there's a conservative estimate available saying that somewhere around 12,000 is there, but if we start studying them, we will surely touch 15,000 mark, So that kind of variety is there. For a species which is having that variety, it deserves some attention. It deserves some attention, and that's the reason sessions like this or many math awareness programs about which I'll be talking later on is all geared towards creating awareness about the moths. Yeah, and among the moths, if you try to see that which is the largest one, the Atlas moth, who is again popular because of because of the title being the largest moth. That's all people know about Atlas moth. Nothing beyond about that is known. Now I know we are having a very big audience over here today. I don't know whether I can do this session usually the way I do. I do lots of question answers and I do it very interactively, but that just takes up some time. But still, I can't stop by doing that. I'll just do one or two interactive sessions with you so that you get started up with the subject. Okay, so I want you people to I'm just showing you some pictures now. Here there's a top row of Leptopterans and is someone trying to talk to me? Okay, so there are two sets of Leptopterans which I'm just listing here, and I'm asking you what is a butterfly and what is a moth. Yeah, so one of the where is the Lepidopteran characters which are there, which is common for a butterfly and a moth, is basically antenna, wings, then the caterpillar stage, then the pupal stage. So these are all like common because they're cousins, so their entire life history is same. So how you know what is what? So anybody wants to try that? Which one of these people can say that top one, first, second, or first, third, or below one, something like that. So anybody wants to go and tell me? Okay, maybe you know which are the moths, which are the butterflies. Tell me which are the moths out of this.
The first one is a moth.
The first top one or below one?
The first top one.
The first top one. Next answer.
Second last one.
Second last. Second. You may say the below, the lower one, and the last.
The one with the white butterflies.
Yeah. So lower one, the last one is a moth. Okay. What else? Huh?
Sixth one.
Okay, sixth one. Okay, this one. Yes, okay, this one is a moth. Someone said, okay, this is a moth. Someone said this is also a moth. Fourth one, this is also a moth. Okay, what else? What else? Which one?
Ma'am, seventh one.
And sixth one.
Okay, hold on. One.
Sixth.
One at a time. One at a time. If you hear someone has spoken, hold on. If you are heard, guys, wait on. If you hear someone is speaking or given the just wait till I respond and then you respond. Okay. So someone said first is a moth, then someone said fourth is a moth, then someone said sixth is a moth, then someone said seventh is a moth, even the eighth one is a moth. Okay, butterflies है ही नहीं क्या इसमें?
है ना?
Which one is butterfly?
Ma'am,
only these two?
second one is butterfly.
Okay. So according to everybody's answers here, these two are moths.
Second one is butterfly.
Okay, only two are butterflies and rest all are moths. And do you believe that because they are so colorful and all that? Do you believe that these are moths?
Ma'am, the first full row is butterflies.
First full row is butterflies.
Yes, ma'am. And I guess only seventh one is the moth.
And only the seventh one, this one is the only moth you're saying. Okay, I like these answers, because they then I like to say that this is wrong, this is right. Okay. So okay, this all top rows are butterflies and all the row below are moths.
And the second one is butterfly.
All top one are butterflies, all. Yeah, and all those are below are moths. Yeah. So one of the difference between a butterfly and moth is that is the antenna. Okay, the antenna which is there on the head. Look at this antenna. This is one of the skipper butterfly. Look at the antenna. The antenna is like it is of same thickness, but it just get expanded or the thickness increases at the tip. It is called clubbed end antenna. Oh, somebody has changed my screen. Where's my
Okay,
screen?
let me.
My screen has gone. Should I share it again?
Yes, yes. But how come it's
I
not?
don't know. I don't know
Because
whether
I have made co-host only my team. How it's possible?
no problem. That's okay. That's fine.
Okay,
No
now I
problem.
have made it. Now just check. Only you can do. Yeah, I have changed the setting. Sorry.
Okay, fine. It's okay. So clubbed antenna is one of the difference because moths can have anything but a clubbed antenna. They have different variety like thread like of it, or they're slightly thickish from base to top, or they may be feathery, or sometimes they, in fact, you guys are lucky that the clubbed antenna moth is not found in India. Otherwise, I would have said there is antenna is not at all the differentiating character for butterfly moth, because even a moth also has it, but in India we don't have it. So bajge, so butterflies always have clubbed antenna, and moths do not have clubbed antenna but have a variety of it. Color is not the differentiating character. That you can see that moths are also colorful. It's just that you don't step out of the house and go and check them out. So that's the reason you can't see these colors. Day flying, not exclusively butterflies are flying day flying. Even moths are there who fly during daytime. This is like a wasp moth here, this one, which is looking like a wasp or a bee, but it is actually a moth and it is trying to fly during the daytime. And many people have told me that the moths always keep their wings open and butterflies, fold behind them. Not necessarily, even moths also do the same thing. So ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है जो moths नहीं कर सकता और जो butterfly कर सकता है, The moral of the story is like that. So you can't say कि ऐसा है वैसा है, But it's only the antenna mainly. Only antenna is one major differentiating character in among the butterflies and moths. Okay. Now we all know about the caterpillars also, that the caterpillars are the babies of butterfly. So when you see a tiny butterfly, it is not a baby butterfly. It is an adult butterfly, because butterfly or moth is an adult stage of this, and these are the babies of butterflies and moths. That's the caterpillars. Now there are various features in the caterpillars also, which can help you to identify whether you're looking at a moth or a butterfly. Now usually like the spines, you see this spines. So you can find spines in butterfly caterpillars as well as moth caterpillars. And then there could be fleshy processes of coming out of the body. Even the same that is there. So then bacha kya hai? Then what is the difference? So there is actually, as I said, there is no difference, much of difference. It is only by practice in the field, by rearing caterpillars is what you have to learn about, which is a butterfly and which is a moth. Now, if I have to ask my previous question of the previous slide, that which of these caterpillars which you see right now are moth caterpillars?
Dance 4th number.
Which one?
One line, 4 numbers.
First is the
One line
moth
4 number.
One line 4 number. This is a moth caterpillar. What about the other answer?
Ma'am, 6th number.
6th one is a moth caterpillar. Yes. What else?
4th one and 8th one.
Guys, hold on. I want you to only respond once for a slide. Don't repeat your answers. You don't give more answers, because there are others who want to answer. So let me take that. So some say this one and then this one. Then what else?
Ma'am, 5th one.
Blue one. Blue one is one. Next. Which one?
5th. 7.
This one.
7th.
Okay.
7th.
Okay. So there's something, I'm getting repetitive answer from the same participants. I don't want repetitive answers. I don't want multiple answers from the same participants. I want different participants giving answers. So that's where the interactivity will happen. Otherwise, it will not happen. So by and large, everybody felt that okay, this is the someone said this one is a moth caterpillar. Then this one is a moth caterpillar. This one is this one. Yeah. Any more guesses from others who have not answered?
Ma'am, it is all only butterfly.
Ma'am, 3rd.
यशराज डांगे आणि तुम्ही आता तुम्ही दुसऱ्यांना जरा बोलू द्यायचं, बाकीचे स्टुडंट्सना बोलू द्यायचं. यशराज डांगे.
Okay, so let me make it easy for everyone. Like all the top ones are butterflies and all the ones which are below are moths. So if you look at them, it doesn't really make much of a difference. So usually, but what is the difference now? The difference is the feeling. What is the feeling? If you see a spiny caterpillar, and if that spine can give you a bad irritation, then it is a moth caterpillar. Of course, I don't want you to try that. But if you see a hairy caterpillar, a caterpillar full of hairs, it is sure that it is a moth caterpillar. There are no butterfly caterpillars which are having hairs on their body. Yeah. So that's it. But not all moth caterpillars are hairy. It's only one of the caterpillar category is hairy. So that is something. So if you see a hairy caterpillar, you know at least that is guaranteed that is a moth caterpillar. Okay. These are all moth caterpillars, all different types of moth caterpillars. So I just left behind the butterfly caterpillars, right? Now I come to the entire section of moth caterpillars. Now, why am I focusing more on this? Is one reason is that because the life history information about moths is lacking in our country. So, and this is something which everybody can do. You don't really need too much of technical knowledge to rear a caterpillar, be it a butterfly or be it a moth. You can rear them. And that information probably will have so much of scientific value. So anybody who is interested in moths or butterflies, I would say, please take up a project where you can rear the caterpillars and maintain the information. I'll come to it that how to do this and where you'll find more information, how to go about and everything. I'll talk about it later, but I'm just telling that this is needed, and there's a reason I'm sharing, like I'm focusing more. And here you can see the moth caterpillars are very varied. They're hairy. Some are fully body haired, some are having tufts of hair on their back, some are having hair on their sides, and some are not having, some are like hairless, like, but they're looping. So all the looping hair. So two things you can remember. All hairy caterpillars are moth caterpillars. All looping caterpillars are moth caterpillars. There is no looping caterpillar of a butterfly. So दो तो मिल गया आपको answer, right? बाकी बस बचा हुआ है. If you see a plain and non-looping caterpillar, that is a problem that to whom it belongs. But at least this is there. If you find caterpillars feeding in one group in a like a spider web kind of thing, those are also moth caterpillars. Most of the moths also do what is called, they do the leaf roll, and inside the roll they feed. But some skippers also do that. So therefore, I can't tell you that is for sure that you'll come to know that this is a moth caterpillar. But this is how the moth caterpillars look. Now, the difference, another difference between butterflies and moths could be, I told you the antenna one. Then in the caterpillar, the hairiness and the looping part. But in the pupal stage also, the difference is there. Actually, the main difference comes in the pupal stage only, because butterflies are more advanced than moths. Moths came, because moths, like I said, they are called elder cousins. So in evolution, they came first and butterflies came later. So whoever comes later, so they have more advantage to them. So moths, pupa is a stage where the caterpillar changes itself into. So suppose if this is a pupa and if there is a covering to it, okay, if there is a covering to it, and that covering is called cocoon. You remove the cocoon, you get only the pupa. So moths always have something to cover their pupa. This could be silk, this could be leaf litter, this could be mud, this could be twigs, any material, yeah. But a cover is there always, mostly rather, I would say. Since butterflies are more advanced than moths, so they found out a way of having the pupa without this cover, because they're able. So what they do, they're more camouflaging. You look at this. So this is a tiger butterfly pupa, which is dazzling, which is having colors like golden spots on it, telling the predator that I'm poisonous. Now the one who can't really, one who don't have poison in them, they are very, camouflaged. You see, this is a brown color one, this is a green one. So they are green, so they're very camouflaged. So using the camouflage to remain invisible. And as I said again, dazzling means it is poisonous. Whereas moths, they try to hide in the cover. But among the moths also, there, what I call them is the daredevils, who says that come, let's see, who are open like panga aja dekhte hain, that kind of attitude. And that is the tiger moth attitude. Here, you look at this. Yeah, it is like, someone staying in a glass house and challenging, can you throw a stone at me? That kind of challenge. So here, this tiger moth caterpillar has a transparent cocoon, silk cocoon, and it is hanging. It is like a hammock, and it is again challenging. So anything that challenges in nature, so in the predators always understand this unwritten rule कि पंगा नहीं लेने का. One who's asking for panga, usse panga nahi lene ka, unlike human beings, So that's a basic difference, So the cocoons. So cocoons are more, if you see, they are not easily seen. They're always hidden into a material, into a medium. Why? Because they need protection. So there could be silk. So if you're rearing a butterfly caterpillar, for pupation medium, you don't have to worry too much. You can have this one twig which you are giving the host plant leaves. So on the same leaf, it can pupate on the twig, or sometimes it goes and makes on the jar of the container also. But in case of moths, you have to give them all sorts of options. You have to give them soil, you have to give a leaf litter, you have to put some twigs, all these options, because you don't know what the moth is going to choose like. So sometimes I tell that moths are having more options at their disposal. It's like, if you look at their wardrobe will be having different kinds of antenna. And if you look at a wardrobe of a butterfly, it is only one kind of antenna. The accessories बहुत कम होते हैं butterflies के, but moths के बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं. But this is also whenever what we call as accessories, just when they reduce it, it is a sign of advancement. Yeah. So all top business type, they don't have different types of clothing. Yeah, they'll always wear one kind of t-shirt or a jeans, and हम ही लोग जो रोज अलग-अलग कपड़ा हमको पहनने का शौक होता है. If you look at it. So it is like, you go to the sophistication level, then you don't bother about all these things. It is just something like that. So butterflies are so sophisticated. They have reached to that stage, and moths are still, because moths are more like, they're less advanced. Therefore, they are still having this, I would say, options available to them. And that's where the confusion is. That's where the difficulty of studying moths became. But butterflies have made themselves so easy to study, to understand, that therefore more and more students or more and more books have been written on it. But in moths, because of all this, still they have not formed a system which could be so easy to understand them. Therefore, there is lots of chaos. Anyway, so this is just to put together this is just one page from my book only, where I put together all the differences which we just spoke, the commonness and the difference, and where they overlap and where they don't. This is what this slide is about. Now let's have something interesting, adaptation in the moth world. And as I said, because the moths are in such a large numbers, for them to survive, they need to really be using good amount of camouflage techniques to remain hidden or to survive. So that's where the adaptation comes in. The picture what you see on the slide is an underside of a moth. It's called multi-plumed. So the feathers, so there are only two wings in butterflies and moths. There are only two wings, and out of that, every wing has got further divided into plumes. Therefore, it's called plume moth. It is barely this size, very small moth. Science or biology or students who have zoology students would know about this example, that so butterflies and moths are very good indicators of climate. When we talk about climate change studies, people always look at bigger animals, birds, but you should look at smaller animals, because their world change faster rather than it reaches to us. So for example, you take this analogy, that it is a 3-storied building, and the person who is staying on the 3rd floor will not sense the crack which is developed in the ground floor of the building. But if the ground floor person who is staying there, they will come to know that there is a crack in the ground floor, and if they take efforts in repairing it, then the rest of the floors are safer. The problem only happens that the crack which is there in the ground floor, it increases comes to the first floor, second floor, and the decision maker is staying on the third floor, and by the time it reaches them, the building has collapsed. So this is a food pyramid. So the insects are the one who are staying in the ground floor. Then the one who are feeding on them are like, they take the birds, they are there on the first floor, then the mammals, and then maybe humans are staying on the terrace or somewhere. So we have to pick up the problems happening at the ground floor. And these are the ones who can tell us that there is a problem. Now, what is this example? This is a very famous example which shows that how moths change themselves because of the industrial because of the industries, increase in industries in that area, and increase in the pollution level. So because of the pollution, this is in UK, this is a case studies from UK, where the pollution increased, so the whitish bark trees started the soot started settling on the bark and turning it black, and the moth, which was white in color, was getting predated very faster. And the moth, which was not so white but slightly blackish, was getting, so this was natural selection of a moth which was not completely white. So eventually all white moths got eaten up, and only light black, slightly black colored or gray colored moths were left, and they propagated further, and they they bred further, and then all black moths started coming up. So that's an adaptation to the pollution. So this is a very good example. You can go up on Google and read up it and such. So we can actually look at them. So if you do habitat monitoring studies, you can take butterflies and moths as indicators of your habitat. In moths, so in butterflies, we can't really say that there is a butterfly which is like very fastest flying. So among the Lepidoptera, if we have to give a title, the fastest moth which flies very fast with a greater speed, it is a hawk moth. So hawk moths have body shape of a jet plane, and they fly so fast, like they have been clocked at 33.7 miles an hour. That is a speed that has been recorded for them. So this is a moth, and therefore, because they fly so fast, so they are also migratory species. So just like butterflies, moths also migrate. One more feature I spoke earlier all about features which can be visible. Now let us talk about some hidden talents of moths, which is not there in butterflies, Now these talents have come in remember, we're talking about adaptation. These talents have come in because the moths have to survive, because they shear in large number, and predation can happen in everywhere. Predation can happen. So how they protect themselves? So you know about in butterflies, the tiger butterflies are there, the milkweed butterflies. They are poisonous butterflies, and they communicate to the predators through their colors. I show you the pupa also. In Mars, there is a similar group of species are there which are called tiger moths, and tiger moths are also poisonous, but they do an additional service to their predators by communicating not only by color but also by vocalization. They can create a clicking sound with their with their legs, and they have this on the chest and on the abdomen, and they can actually make that sound of clicking, which is not audible to us, but it could be audible to a bat, because they are flying in the night time. Bats are also flying during the night time, and to communicate to the predator, they use this clicking sound. So that is called vocalization. And even some moths like this hawk moth, they can actually take air the air which is trained in insects. There are no lungs as such. So the lungs are there, but there are holes on the side of the body. They're called spiracles. So the air comes in and goes out, comes in and goes out. So that gushing, or even this moth has an ability of gushing that air from its proboscis also. And that is where it is the sound is created like a squeaking of a mouse. That kind of, it is very audible. It is audible to human beings also. We can hear it. So the whole idea of that squeaking is that, let me free, don't try to catch me. And this moth is known to even raid beehives. And it raids the beehives and it feeds on the honey. it's known as it is the theory says that the moth actually releases the same chemicals which can render the bees to believe that ये तो अपनी gang का है, ये is not an outsider, it's a part of a clan. So that's how it fools it. So that's a bee hawk moth. And so butterflies, sorry, the moths have the ears that can ears which can detect the squeaks of the bat. If the bat is, you all know the bats actually hunt through echolocation, that is, it gives out a sound waves, and that sound waves goes and hit an object and it bounces back. The bounce back is like a sound image the bat gets. Based on that sound image, it come to know whether the prey is smaller and bigger. Therefore, if a bat sound waves hit you, it comes a very big image, goes back to it, and the bat knows that this is not my food. So therefore, the bat is not coming after you. But in case of moths, it is because of the size actually. So the squeaking, the calls of the bat calls can be detected by the moths, and these are available this ears. So ears are not on the head, the ears are on the thorax or on the abdomen or on the legs. So they hear from that region, they can hear, the moths can hear. So what they can do, that when they hear the sound, they can just escape, they can just change the route abruptly so that the bat is not able to zoom on them. Some moths, like as moon moth, you would have seen them. So they have very long tails, and the long tails are meant for making a very swiftless flight. So when this they fly, so there is not much of sound wave that is created when they are flying. So those wings are meant for that. But sometimes it's not that if the prey is smarter, the predators are there who are super smarter. So these bats are known to catch those moths who try to maneuver their path, maneuver the route to avoid being caught by the bat. So bat can always actually even pick up those signs, and it can still go and attack it. So there's so much happening in the night and we are sleeping, that's the problem, that so much is happening and then we don't know. Then we say, oh, moths are so dull and drab, they're only tiny, they're not attractive. But look, so much of drama is happening in the night. Well, I think today is 27th, right? So 24th was a new moon night, and I specifically asked Shilpa to schedule this lecture around the new moon night, because new moon night is the best time for moths to come out. It's the best time to see moths in the night, because when there's very less light in the atmosphere, that's the time you see large number of moths. And I'm sure by this time you would have seen some moths coming to your home, the house lights already, because the moth season has already started. Moth season starts with the onset, just maybe a week or two before monsoon. Actually, all the moths which were hibernating in the pupa actually emerges. And that's when you see this new batch of moths coming to your lights. So besides all this adaptation, there is one of the classic adaptation which is also seen in butterflies is the chemical warfare. They have the chemicals, they fight the predator, they fight predation with help of chemicals. So I mentioned you about a tiger moth. Here is a tiger moth who I tried to handle it, and you can see how it is foaming from its all openings. This is a liquid which is coming, and then I had a mild irritation in my hand. Of course, I'm not the predator of this moth, so it was not meant for me. But had a bird eaten this moth, then this liquid, the yellow color liquid, would have given a very irritation feeling in the mouth of the bird or the reptile or the frog, whoever has tried to eat it, and that will cause vomiting in the predator. So that is what this is meant. So this is like a poison liquid stored in the body of the moth. And I mentioned you about the hairiness. So all hairy caterpillars are can give you a very bad itch, because every hair has a poison gland at the base of it. And this hair, what you think is just a hair, is actually hollow. So when this hair breaks on your skin, I'm sure not many of you have got experience, but people who have experience, they would see that if a hairy caterpillar has rubbed on your hand or somewhere. So there are some hair particles on the skin. So what happens? It immediately breaks. The moment the hair comes in the contact with your skin, it breaks and releases that chemical, and that's where the itching starts. So caterpillars have to be need to use more protection because they're out. They can't fly. They're just static, like they're just moving on a branch or on the leaf. So they have to find way of protecting themselves. So this is the tiger moths again. The tiger moths are mostly hairy caterpillar, and they are poisonous. But as I said, there is also non-violent ways of evading a predator and not really putting up a fight always. So there is this camouflage and mimicry that just like butterflies, moths also use it. Now, if I tell you that this right one is a moth, you won't believe it unless you have seen a moth like this, yeah? But I can certainly ask you, where is the head? If this is a moth, where is the head? You can say right end or left end. Yeah, anyone wants to go?
Left end.
Right.
Left end?
Left hand, ma'am. Left hand.
Okay.
Left
Okay, fine.
hand.
Okay, thanks. Now left and right, fine. Is there any logic in why you gave the answer, or just ऐसे तुक्का मारा?
Ma'am, we can see the wings on the right hand side.
You're exaggerating, है ना? कुछ wing दिखता नहीं है इसमें. Okay, fine. Okay, the right answer is this is a head region, and this is a wing region. And why I said wing वगैरह दिखता नहीं, because this moth has curled up the wing around its body. It is like a tube now. जो wings ऐसे होते हैं वैसे fold हो गए, full round body में हो गए. So therefore I can't believe when you say कि wings दिखता है करके. Okay, so this is now what is this? This is like a broken twig moth. That's the name of it. This is the camouflage which is saying the predator that I am the lakdi ka tukda. I'm not a moth. So don't peck on me also. And for this moth to exercise, it's like to communicate to the predator that I am a twig. I'm not a moth. You know what danger it has to face? It has to put itself exposed. It can't hide them. Because if it is a broken twig, where you see normally broken twigs?
Ma'am, on the ground.
On the ground or on the leaves. Because the twigs have fallen from the tree. So this moth will be always, it's either on the leaf or on the ground. You can see it is exposing itself. It is not really trying to hide. It is just trying to कि भगवान बचा ले मेरा ये broken twig का camouflage workout कर ले, like it works for me, and I'm just out there full day. I'm sitting on the leaf, and I hope no bird pecks on me. I know it is a very, if you go out and start exploring moths, and it is such an interesting journey, because I have experienced that journey, and it's like it will be probably my 25th year, or probably across the 25th year observing moths, and it is like never ending, for reason that there's so much of suspense element in there. So I encountered this moth when I was trying to photograph a flower. And when I was photographing the flower, I found that on the leaf, this twig was there. And just like any photographer, ना हमको ऐसे clean shot चाहिए, neat shot चाहिए, composed होना चाहिए. I said, अरे twig यहाँ पे क्या कर रहा है? Let me remove the twig. And I just tried to remove it, and instead of falling down, the twig just flew. I said, how is that possible? How can a twig fly? I just couldn't believe. I thought, कुछ illusion हुआ होगा. But I chased that, and then I found, and again that moth went and sat and just rolled. It was just about to roll up its wings when I caught it. I said, okay, this is a moth, So it's really fascinating. Okay, so that's a broken twig moth. So they use items which are there in nature and remain camouflage. Next is the one who's saying that who is poisonous already, but they said additional protection chahiye. So they are having poison in their body. This is one of the zygonid moth. Zygonid, that's a family name. And they're already having poison. Poison means not ordinary poison. hydrogen sulfide is the poison they develop and keep in their body. In spite of that, they're saying that, okay, we need an additional protection. So what they do, they try to mimic the distasteful butterflies also. So this looks like a striped tiger butterfly. So, and because striped tiger also flies in the daytime, this moth also. That's another story, that probably striped tiger doesn't fly at the altitude where this moth is flying. Okay. Now, what settings they have, what understanding they have among themselves, I don't know. But for us, we can always compare and say, so this is also distasteful, this is also distasteful. And they both fly during the daytime. So it is like added benefit ki kisi jo who has a reputation of being distasteful, usko hi copy karo. You are distasteful, but uska reputation bhi copy karo, so you just get double benefit of being protected. So these are the techniques what they use. Okay, now some more quiz questions for you people. Okay, we're talking about camouflage and there's a moth in this picture.
Ma'am.
Yes. And I want like different people answering every time. It will be fun. If you're not answered till now, you're missing out the whole experience of getting engaged into it. So please give, even wrong answers will do. The fun of knowing, oh, aisa tha, that wo bhi miss karoge aap log. So please participate.
Ma'am, the leaf, ma'am.
Ma'am, the
Leaf in the
focused one
center.
leaf is the moth.
Yeah, this one is a this one is a moth, surely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this was not the question. This was not actually the question. The real question is, ka sar kidhar hai?
Ma'am, the stick, where the stick is attached.
Left side.
Okay, yeah, left. Aisha?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sure.
Okay, fine. I give you marks. Chalo, pass. This is right.
Ma'am,
But the tougher question is about to come.
ma'am, why I identified it because
Yeah.
because it was unlike all the leaves. So
Yes, and because the photographer zoomed on it, as simple as that.
yes,
उसमें zoom किया इसलिए आपको दिख गया, ठीक है? Fine. Now, how many moths are there in this picture?
There is a leaf.
2, 1, ma'am.
Now one.
One man.
One.
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 Okay.
One.
Okay, this is the second one. Yeah, this is the second moth. Yeah. So this is a group of moths called as hook tip moths. Their wing tips are always hooked like this, and they look like leaf twigs. And they are well camouflaged. Not only they look like a leaf, they look like even like this all patches that you see in a leaf, black patch, fungal infection, all that kind of pattern is also there on their body. So it is a complete copy. There's a hook tip moths. Now there are moths which actually either stay on the tree bark or on stone walls. So these are the moths who do that. So we call them as a lichen moths because they look like lichens. So here the moth is looking like a lichen. Now look at the antenna over here. See this antenna. It's finely hairy. So in this group of moths, the males always have this fine hairy antenna, and females will have very less feathery or single thread-like antenna. So this is called sexual dimorphism, where the male and female looks different, and the identification characters might be only in antenna, not in the look. There are moths, female moths, who look different also, but here in this case, this come in a group called Geometridae moths, where the both wings and hind wings are always open. It's not hidden. And whenever you see a moth which is only showing first pair of wings and the under pair of wings are beneath it, so be sure that the front wing color and the under wing color would be different. And the moths which are always sitting with open wings, the colors are uniform. This is the Atlas moth, the largest moth of a country. And it could be this big. The moth, if you want to hold this moth, you will need to put both your palms together to hold the moth. That is the size of the moth. I always call it as a handful of moth. That's an Atlas moth. It looks absolutely stunning, and you'll be surprised to know, itna bada moth, kuch khata pita nahi hai. So one of the characteristics which butterflies don't have is उन लोग fast नहीं करते हैं. Moths बहुत शायद पूजा पाठ करते होंगे, बहुत fasting करते हैं. You know, there are many groups of moths who don't eat as adult. Therefore, their lifespans are very short. Butterflies can live for 2 to 3 months, and in certain conditions even 6 months. But moths who are non-feeders, they may die within a month or so. Why? Because so in nature, so you know, it's a design by nature, that sheer number which moths are having. So you know, nature को भी तो balance strike करना पड़ता है ना. Something very more, so उनका lifespan कम. So there's a large group of moths who don't feed and they don't live for very long time. So they only feed in a caterpillar stage. So इनका caterpillar stage का जो time होता है वो बहुत लंबा होता है. Like an atlas moth can feed for 1 month, whole month. The caterpillar can feed for 1 whole month, and then the adult emerge who may survive only for 2 weeks. If it is a male, the mandate of male is to find a female, mate with a female and die. If it is a female, her mandate is to attract a male, get mated, lay the eggs and die. There's no parental care in insect world as such, but in moths also, so they just lay eggs and they die. So atlas moth comes under that group, and the atlas moth as rightly named, you know, it is called emperor moths. They are like emperors. And I always, if you put up a light sheet, I'll explain what is a light sheet. Is a method to study moths. If you put up a light sheet to study moths, they will be the one who will always come late. It's like, you know, royals late आते हैं हमेशा, time पे नहीं आते हैं. No? It's just that, you know, it's a larger moths require longer time to get charged up, and therefore they come late in the night. So usually, if you want to witness emperor moths to come on your light, you should be keeping your light on till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. By the time they all actually are present. That's it. I mentioned to you about this wings. You know, if the wings are closed, and then the underwing color is different, and if the wings are open, they are same color. So here you can see this is one of the swallowtail moths. The wings are almost same, but here the wing tips are having false head markings. This false head marking technique is also present in butterflies, the blue butterflies, who always sport a false head. So the purpose of having a false head is that this is not my head, my real head is here. The moth is saying this is my real head, but I want to fool my predator, saying that this is my head, and these are my eyes, and this is my antenna. This whole thing could be my head. You can peck here. So when a bird usually pecks here, so this much portion is missing. You might see butterflies with such, you know, cut pieces, and that is basically witnesses that it has been attacked by it. But that small cut helps the moth to take flight and fly away. So this is one way of, like, they are trying to fool. And here this moth is a beautiful moth. Usually never see this crimson color marking underwing in the moth. It always is hidden. But some bird comes very close, it just opens up and the bird just gets startled. The bird gets startled and the bird will just shook. And that shaking moment gives the moth to fly away. So it is just startling, because the moth is looking, because the bird was looking like, okay, brown, you know, then this, oh, kya dekha maine, you know, then the bird is startled with that action of it. So many moths do this startling impact to scare away the predator, and they get time to fly. And some try to give, like, you know, like full, you know, it's like, the name of this moth is called owl moth. Why? Because it looks like an owl. So this moth is trying to tell the bird, look, I'm an owl. I'm not a moth, actually. I'm an owl. And you better be scared, because I'm a predatory bird. So owls are predatory birds of smaller birds. Birds know that. So anything that look like an owl, that is just good enough. Aankhein bhi kafi hoti hai. Okay? And just to enhance the whole feeling of the picture, the moth is also having this wavy marking on it, so that it doesn't look like feather. So where do owl moths sit? The owl moths usually are hidden under the tree crevice, inside the tree crevices, under the rocks, under the leaf. Not under the leaf usually, but under the rocks. So that is where the dark corners में ये बैठे रहते हैं. And if a bird just goes exploring and they see these eyes, they are startled. Then वो वहाँ पे खड़े रह के logic भी नहीं लगाते, अरे सिर्फ आंखें की है, rest of the bird, where is the rest of the bird? No logic. There's no time for logic calculation. भागो वहाँ से, you know. So that's how the owl moth gets benefited. So that's an owl moth. So those are not real eyes; they are just show के eyes. And here is a very tiny moth, which very tiny, like it is. This is the size. But if you look at from the head-on size, from the eye level side, it looks like a spider. Okay, this whole body looks like a spider, but actually it is a moth. It's only that the white margin of the wings are not visible. And it looks like moth, so it's probably getting so you know, I must say that because the moth studies have been not that advanced. I'm talking about ecological studies. I'm not talking about taxonomical study. Taxonomical study मतलब वो पूरा dissection होता है lab में, उसका DNA sequencing करते हैं या उसका head कैसा है, ये all everything under microscope, वो study thorough होता है everywhere, even in the country. But what is really lacking is ecological, how the moth behaves outside, how is the moth carrying itself, how is it surviving in outdoor. ये जो observations are missing in that is the ecological information. Now we really don't know whether this funda of spider like looking is helping the moth or not. Yeah, we are just making these theories. We are still it is still a theory until we see that okay, spider like thing is there, therefore the bird is not pecking on it, or a frog is not taking the moth. So there's more ecological. This needs to be, all these adaptation stories have to be supported by good amount of research, and there is a need of it. Therefore we need more ecological workers. Taxonomic studies are happening, they're important, and we really have a very good set of taxonomical work even in our country, but we are lacking on the ecological aspect. And I'm an ecology student, you know, I'm not a lab person. You give me a specimen, you said dissected, I said Baba, mujhe nahi aata ye sab. I don't know it. Yeah, I'm a field person, I can observe it, I can do more studies. So we need to complement even in the research part also. Let's see where is the lacuna is there and fill in the gap over there. Another concept of it, another visual concept that we can draw, that here is a moth which always sits on a leaf top. It looks like a bird dropping. Not only it looks like a bird dropping, freshly bird dropping on a leaf, which spat, you know, as I say, flash ho jata hai na, splash ho jata hai leaf ke upar se. If the bird has shat from the top and it just lies on the leaf and it just splashes there. And that splash is attracting two flies. They have come together and they're feeding on that. And a bird who sees, so now a bird will never get, not only bird, no species would like to see back their own shit. So when they see that there is a bird dropping kind of thing, not only bird dropping, so there are many moths who look like bird dropping without this additional effects of fly effect. So even they are excused. They're always on the leaf top. All mostly white moths, they always sit on the leaf top because they are trying to tell the predator, hey, I'm the shit of some bird. So you just move ahead. But this moth has taken further time to add two fly into the picture to make it more realistic. Okay, this is really a fresh dropping, and there are two flies who are already busy, so you just move away from here. So there are just ways how the moths have been using. Again, as I said, that these are all theories that we are floating by our understanding of natural world. More research needs to be done to really find whether the species which are having fly on the top, on their back, are more successful, or just one who are just looking like a bird dropping like that. You know, so more studies need to happen. That moth is only exclusively found in Arunachal Pradesh, because that's where most northeast Himalaya side is where those moths are seen. Now some moths are saying that, you know, I always call them like rebel, you know. Like as a child I was a rebel. सब लोग बोलेंगे ये करो, मैं बोली को वो करने का है. We always find rebels. At some point of time we all are rebels. Yeah. So rebels are the one who says that we don't want to go this way, we want to go the other way. Yeah. So I can imagine that there would be this is called a beehawk moth. Yeah. So the beehawk moth would have challenged his mother, saying that the mother would say, no, you have to fly during the night time, and the beehawk would say, no, I want to check out what is happening during the daytime. Yeah, so mother will say, no, you can't go during the daytime, you'll be eaten up, you know, because you are a moth, and the predators will easily come that you are a moth. So then the bee hawk moth would have said that, oh, if the wings is a problem, if the color is a problem, how about if I just look like, you know, the, uh, the nasty reputation of a wasp and bees is already there. Why not I look like the species which are nasty? I can have a nasty look too, and I can just shed my scales. So mommy बोलती try कर ले बेटा, success हो गया तो हो गया. And that's how the bee hawk myth came into the picture. When it emerges from the cocoon, it is having white scales on the wings. And with the first shivering it does, it is shivering karte hain, the scales are fallen and the wings are transparent. And then it flies in the daytime with the bees, and assuming that I'm like a bee, I look like, so if it's a name, actually it's a moth. Therefore, it is called bee hawk moth. Then, as I mentioned earlier, the tiger butterfly mimics mentioned earlier. So not only there's a striped tiger mimic, you also have a blue tiger mimic in moth world. They all fly during the daytime. They all fly, and they are equally distasteful as those distasteful butterflies are there. So there's a blue tiger moth and there's a striped tiger moth. But something which is very interesting is like if you have seen the caterpillar of great orange tip. So great orange tip ka caterpillar kya karta hai? It looks like a pit viper. Chota sa pit viper lagta hai because it's the coloration and everything. I think that's the only caterpillar I remember which actually looks like a snake. But there are these moth caterpillars, like every caterpillar, mostly they try to do that. This is like a tiger, Spider-Man's ka mask hai, you know, the left arm. So what has happened here? The caterpillar has curled his head down. The head has gone down. The sides are having eye spots. Air has been gulped into to puff up this area. So these eyes get just highlighted. The head is down. And it is trying to show like, you know, I am like a snake to the predator. So if you try to handle this caterpillar, the caterpillar just curl down, put the head down, puff up and say that I am a snake. So just trying to, so in nature, the rule is that if you're tiny, you get eaten. But if you're bigger, you get protected. So the caterpillar knows that. The caterpillar says, okay, let me increase my body size. I'm increasing my head region. I'm adding the effects of the eyes to it, saying that I'm a big animal with big eyes. So you just leave me. This is only in the hawk moth. But there is another caterpillar of if I remember correctly, this is like one, this is a very elusive moth called Brahminid moth. So it has the flaps like cobra. You know, if you've seen a cobra snake, the skin, the area around the head region is inflated. So there is a more skin available. So it can be inflated into the hood. Here also, the caterpillar has additional flaps to the head region. They get expanded, and that's how it looks like when it moves like a small snake. You can see the pattern is also like a small snake. And some look like exactly like snakes, some look like lizards because of this all additional, you know, what is a decoration, what they have. And as I said that birds will not sit and do the logical calculation. Arey, itna sa head hai, baki ka part kidhar hai, dikh nahi raha hai. So this fellow is trying to fool me. No. Those kind of human like thinking wahan pe chalta nahi hai. It's just like, okay, matching, you know, there's eyes and eyes are getting matching, just move away. So this is another way. These are all caterpillars in expanded form, what you see. And some believe in like, you know, hiding out, not to be seen. So they make their own shelter. This is called a bagworm, which is having a mobile house. It carries with it. It remains in this bag. And this twig, what you see, tiny twigs, are being cut and made by the caterpillar itself. It's a mobile house, what the caterpillar created. So this way it is protected. If you by mistake you touch this entire bag will fall down. And you will think that, okay, some kachra had fallen. But later on, this tiny bags again climbs back. So it feeds and it stays inside. Feeds and stays inside. That's how the strategy the bagworm uses. And unity. They all understand the power of unity. So they hum log saath mein ladenge, hum log saath mein jiyenge, you know, that kind of funda. So these are the grass moths. So what they do, they do the leaf curl and the leaf cull, they all live together and feed on the leaves and keep on eating the leaf while the leaf is still curled. And by mistake, if you try to you disturb this, they all will, like, they'll put their all heads behind and they'll all start shaking. If everything's not shaking, this entire thing starts moving, and that effect is just good enough for a bird to get scared. It's all aimed at the predator, and mostly birds. Yeah, like just like the bagworm, which is staying inside the bag of twigs. There's a goat moth which stays inside the tree trunk. It is completely hidden. It is not seen. Goat moths can kill trees also. If many goat moths can, like I have a tree which died eventually. For 10 years that tree was there, and then for last 5 to 6 years, a goat moth started boring into the tree, and now the tree is dead. So this is a goat moth. The caterpillar is, now this looks very different from the normal caterpillar, because this caterpillar doesn't need color, doesn't need any extra decorations, because it is inside the wood. It is hidden from the light. It doesn't need it. It may be blind also, because it doesn't need to navigate anywhere. It is just inside the tree trunk. Okay. Now there are like the reason that because moths is such a complicated study, so you can see the families. There are 142 families in the world, and people who have been studying butterflies in our country, you're only dealing with 6 families. 6 families is what dealing. So if you just go and look at the butterfly, people who are studying butterflies, people who are actually writing on butterflies, people who are so much of madly in love with butterflies, I tell them you're only dealing with 6 families. At some point of time, you'll run out of all butterflies, the way it has happened with birds. If for birding, then how much more you can learn? Now, there's only standard checklist available for India, 1200 plus. Uske baad to kuch hai nahi. But in moths, it is like endless. So we may be having 40 plus families in our country of moths. So that to studying them becomes a very big task, and that is the one reason why writing on moths is a very big challenge, or bringing out books on moths is a very big challenge, because you see there's so much of problem, like so much of data deficiency in the moth world. So to write a moth book, you need to have a data, and usually books are written by referring previous work. Somebody has done work, so you see their work, you combine it with your work, and then you bring out a book. When I started writing a book, now this is my book. This is the book I started writing. When I started writing a book, there was nothing available from where I can extract much. Yeah, thank you, Shilpa. There was nothing I could extract much, and even if I can extract, there was nothing available for Indian scenario, for Indian information. Yeah, so I actually spent I took more than 15 years to write this book. I spent my time in generating data for my moth book. So I was doing research and filling in that data into the book. So therefore it took really long time. Everybody used to say, so such a long time, you took such a long time to, you took. I said, Baba, konsa field, you deal with the field. And it's really, many people ask, tell me which is the endemic species to Maharashtra. Tell me which is the endangered one, which is the threatened one, which is vulnerable. I said, hello, hold on. Where you can't talk about moths at a same wavelength where you speak about tigers, elephants, then all prominent wildlife. You can't take them there. They have not reached there. If you look where, if I go tell you where a tiger, so tiger ka to PhD ho chuka hai. Butterflies, moths ka, birds ka masters ho chuka hai. They are progressing towards PhD, or rather they are also, उनका भी PhD हो गया होगा. Butterflies का graduation हो चुका है, they are now MSc level पे गए होंगे. Where are moths? अभी तक उनका primary school खत्म नहीं हुआ है. They are there. There you can take them to this level. To bring the moths to that level, you can imagine how much of study is needed. Masters that, like many people send me a caterpillar. बताओ इसमें से कौन सा moth आएगा? अरे भाई मुझे क्या पता कौन सा moth आएगा? I say, how can you don't know? You're a moth expert. अरे but I'm a moth expert, but I didn't do this. Life is to study. The data is not there, and one person can't know. Nobody can claim that they know everything. I too don't claim I know everything. No, I don't know everything. I may be just knowing some percentage of it. Maybe I'm knowing just 10 to 20% of the moths which are there in our country? I don't know. So there's more people are there. There are more hands, more eyes, more hearts into this. I think we can actually come to that phase. So therefore, getting into moth classification becomes very, very technical part of it. That's like every family, why uniqueness about every family is there, but it is very, very technical. So I'm not going to talk about that. Now let's come to the study part of it. As I have already mentioned that studying is so important for moths, and it is fun. I tell you, it is fun. The best part which I feel about moth study is that आपको कहीं जाना नहीं पड़ता, घर बैठे बैठे स्टडी करो. मतलब ये पैंडेमिक स्टाइल वाला स्टडी में तो पहले से कर रही थी, not too much of travel. Go to a location, वहीं पे डेरा डाल के बैठे रहो, keep a light on, and whatever moths which keep coming, photograph them, and that's how I've done my studies. I use a light sheet like this. This is a white curtain. एक ordinary blanket ले लो, bed sheet ले लो white color का. Take a mercury lamp. 225 watts का mercury lamp मिलता है. Take that lamp, just put it on, and just operate it after sunset and midnight तक रखो. जब नींद आती है बंद करो, सो जाओ. Do it on regular basis. You will get a tremendous, you will get lots of interesting information. Lots of, and यहाँ पे सिर्फ photograph करना है. You are not collecting. I don't collect moths. I don't, like earlier when I was doing my research, I was collecting, and later on realized there's no, because I'm not a taxonomist, I'm not working in a lab, so I said there's no purpose for me to collect specimens. So I stopped collecting them. And only what is needed in moths photography is that underwing color. If you're seeing a moth which is having only 2 wing color you're seeing, then can you get the underwing color? So there are steps how you can do it. So photography is the best way you can photograph and document more of moths. And caterpillars, rear the caterpillars, and you come to know which moth is coming out of which caterpillar. So this is what is very needed, and this is a mothing time. The monsoon time is a mothing. Monsoon and post monsoon is the best time to do a study. And then you can take aram le lo rest of the year. Then again the rain comes, again you do the study. So it's just like, actually dekha jaye to it is very easy kind of work. The tough part is only this, that you have to sacrifice your sleep. That is the only tough part in the moth study. Unlike birds में उसमें भी नींद sacrifice करना पड़ता है. You have to go early morning and look for the birds, observe them. Time is so crucial and everything. But here it is like, I would say you can do it at your leisure, but only part is that, okay, how long you can remain awake in the night time. Like I usually, if I put up a light sheet, I'm usually awake till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and thereafter, like I used to have a batch of volunteers with me. Then we used to take turn that at this, इतने बजे ये उठ के देखेगा कि क्या आया है, and if there's something interesting, then they will wake up. Hey, उठो, देखो कुछ नया आया है. We all wake up, we take photograph, and again सो जाते थे. Again ऐसे एक घंटे में हम लोग उठ के देखते थे, because we don't keep our lights on till the sunrise, because if the sunrise comes in, then the moths will not fly away and they will become sitting ducks for the predators like birds. They'll all come and peck it on. So light sheet is actually a very destructive method to study moths, but there is no better method also to study moths without killing them. जो light traps available है, world over, or people use a light trap, there the moths are killed. But here you're only distracting them for a while. Means a moth is going out to find a mate, and you're saying, oh, please spend some time on my light sheet, and then you may go in. So we're just disrupting the routine for a while, but we're not killing them. So if we go to new place, if we go to new area, so where we don't know what kind of moths are coming at what time, so we actually try to keep it on till 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock or before 5 o'clock, and we try to take turns. And but the best time, I tell everyone, even if you're operating till 12 o'clock, is just good enough if you're starting off with it, because it's to put on that kind of energy, you need to be really, really very committed into it. It should be, you should be so committed that you're sleeping and someone just wakes you up and says, hey, this has come, you should be just charged up immediately, Then you say, no, I can't wake up, I'm sleeping now. No, that doesn't work like that when you are in the field. I remember this story, like I used to conduct camps for when I was in BNHS. All my camps had a light sheet part into it. So one night, we were in Bhimashankar, and one night we saw, I told everyone that you'll see a Atlas moth for sure, because we have records of it. So the Atlas moth came first night, and as usual it came late. So everybody came from the rooms. I called up on the intercom that Atlas moth has come. So everybody just came out, everybody came, did the photography, everything. And then the next night again the Atlas moth came, and again I called up everyone. Then they're saying कि कुछ नया आएगा तो बोलना हमको. I said भाई Atlas moth आया है. So Atlas moth is like a tiger. It's not that एक tiger को एक बार देखा तो you are okay with it. हाँ ठीक है भाई अगली बार कुछ और देखेंगे. So Atlas moth was like a tiger. It is still a tiger for me. I don't miss a chance to see an Atlas moth. Here people are saying, "कुछ नया आएगा तो बताना हमको." I said, "Papa, you don't get to see Atlas moth so often, and I'm trying to show you anything. कुछ नया आएगा तो बताना." So that's what I'm saying. You need to be really into it to really feel for it. Then only you can actually get into this field. Otherwise, getting frustrated and losing interest is very, very normal. Very normal. Okay, so there is a National Moth Week coming up. The reason that why I asked Shilpa to schedule my talk in this month also, so that I can talk to you about a National Moth Week. National Moth Week is a global citizen science event which has been happening for last 10 years. This is the 10th year of National Moth Week. And I'm one of the country coordinators for this initiative. So what really happens here? So this event is telling people that go wherever you are. Can you do moth studies? Maybe you are having a play in your home, you can do a moth, like you have a terrace, wherever you can put up a light sheet, you can do it. Last year, because of the lockdown, I did an entire campaign on moths. Right from my home, I did it. Right, everything I was doing from my home space. So we did all virtual campaign, almost literally on moths. So the whole idea is that study moths, study in the sense, photograph moths and upload the information. So this is a National Moth Week website is there available online. You can Google for National Moth Week 2021. You'll reach the site. You can register yourself that you're going to do, put up a light sheet in your home, near your school, in your college or your office, wherever you're having time where you can spend night. And then you are going to take photograph and just upload it. So where you can upload it, so there are various websites which are available where you can upload your photos. iNaturalist is again a global citizen science platform where people can upload any picture of natural world. So you can upload your pictures, or you can go to our Indian website called India Biodiversity Portal. This year they have kept a competition also of getting highest number of moth pictures, and they told me that to sponsor a moth book as a prize for the winner, which I agreed. I said, okay, fine, good. So there is, if you put your pictures over there, one can win this book also. So this event is coming between 17th to 25th. It is just 1 week, and you can choose any of the days or all the days you can do and study the moths in your locality and be part of this community. It's always students who have affinity for research. If you feel that you need to do some research, I would say moths are the best examples, best subjects, for reason that tum thak jaoge, but moths ka, there will be no ending for it, So I have got into this when I started my moth study. I never thought that I will make it as my lifelong research work. And it is going to be my lifelong research work. It is not one life. It would be probably many lives are needed to study moths. So there is no end point to this study. And therefore, we humans are always like, driven by a goal. You always need a goal. And the moment you achieve it very soon, na to maza nahi aata. So it has to be very difficult, and it will keep on engaging you for full your entire life. So if you need a goal, something that can keep you busy your entire life, it is moths. No other species can do that. Did somebody change my slide? Okay, so this is so National Moth Week is coming up. Please register over there. And now this is just probably the last slide only. That what role moths play? Moths play exactly the same role what butterflies play. In fact, 10 times more, you can say, because they're 10 times more. But one additional thing what moths also do is that they are supporting the sericulture industry, which butterflies don't generate. So, it is a economy also with that moths are supporting. Yet, moths don't get that kind of benefit. But sericulture is purely run by moths. So that's last slide of my presentation, that if moths have generated interest and you want to learn more about it, so my book is available. And actually this is probably going to be the last year of my book, because my stocks have got over I think 4 year 3. I launched in 2018. So the book is available on this site as well as on the Amazon. So great, and thank you so much. And